Good morning, traders. Russell Sandiford here for your Monday morning Trader Talk rant. Well, we've certainly seen a lot of US dollar strength come back into the markets really quickly to start this week. Looking at Treasury yields, they were bid pretty savagely this morning, dragging the US dollar much higher. Now look, if you look across the pairs that really moved last week, the sterling jumping up ferociously on Friday, the pairs that had a great run against the US dollar on Friday are the pairs this morning that have opened in and gone the other way. So the sterling, for example, is an interesting one for this week to have a look at based on the interest rate announcement coming out midweek. It's jumped up now. If we just go back to the previous resistance at 130, it's jumped up above that and now using 130 perhaps as a base. The sterling against the greenback, of course, and now up to 131.80 on the way back from last week's highs. So look, that looks overdone for mine. That could be an interesting one today. There is a lack of data today. So look, the Aussie and the Kiwi, same story, almost identical charts. Aussie on screen now, that's your 4 hour. Kiwi on screen now, that's your 4 hour. They both had a very bullish run against that US dollar when the US dollar was crunched on Friday. Now the point is, this morning, for those of you scalping or looking for a somewhat short-term opportunity, these two pairs, particularly the Aussie perhaps back to 80 cents, might be an interesting opportunity to consider. The other big movers, of course, were our good old favourite here, dollar yen, coming back from 107.30 or thereabout, screaming back to 108.5 this morning already. That's a very big indication of what is possible here on the US dollar. The big event for later in this week is the US session Thursday night, US inflation. When that hits at 10:30 p.m. Sydney time on Thursday, for mine, I think that could be a great opportunity for the US dollar bulls to come rushing back in. Now that inflation data is tipped to be good. What that means is, and the reason I make that comment with some caution, is if that's a miss, then all of a sudden the market starts to price out and the big traders start to price out the December rate hike probability. That will plummet from 30% to, I don't know, something in the region of maybe not possible or 10%. So be very careful there on the dollar yen if you're short, because I think the dollar bulls can actually get this guy back towards 110 for later in the week. But again, I am still also cautious of the North Korean headlines that can pop their head up at any time. We did see a little bit of aggression over the weekend, but it was still aggression from North Korea saying we're waiting to see what the US do in terms of sanctions. We've seen in the past, guys, if we can learn from recent experience, we've seen in the past that when North Korea do something, markets react. When North Korea talk about waiting for the US, markets actually fade that. So for mine, you might see the US dollar strength lead through Monday and even into tomorrow's trade. So keep your powder dry. And if you're in Sydney this week, we do have an event here on Wednesday night in our office here at easyMarkets, Sydney CBD. If you can't make that, there is a live webinar that I'll be doing Wednesday for an hour and a half rather, from 7 p.m. Wednesday. So plenty of action to help you from us here in the team at easyMarkets. So have a good week and trade well.